What's up guys, it's Widgeon TV here. Samuel Blackwell, a name I'm sure you've heard once or twice while playing Fallout 76, whether it was a holotape in the Charleston Herald building or a note in Camp McClintock. Mentions of this former popular US senator are spread everywhere in Fallout 76's Appalachia. So who was Sam Blackwell? What were his motivations, and what happened to him? Normally I would jump straight into Sam Blackwell's story, but his whole story can't be fully uncovered without talking about the Free States that Blackwell co-founded. I have a full video on the Free States where you can learn more about the tragic story of his friends and other members of the Free States organization. Alright, Sam Blackwell's story surprisingly doesn't start in a cramped bunker hidden away in the Appalachian Hills, though we'll get there. His story starts with Quinn Carter, a Charleston Herald reporter. On the outskirts of Charleston's main urban area, we can find the Charleston Herald building, which is where we can find this note. We support Quinn Carter by the Charleston Herald Editorial Board. We, the members of the Charleston Herald Editorial Board, wish to publicly express our support for the Herald reporter, Quinn Carter, and her continued employment at this periodical. The public cries for Mrs. Carter's resignation following her interview with the now former Senator Sam Blackwell stand in stark contrast to our nation's value of freedom of the press and our duty to report crucial news to the public at large. Mrs. Carter's interview is fully protected under the laws of this great territory, and as such is under no obligation to reveal the location of Senator Blackwell, regardless of the nature of the statements he made during said interview. Thus, we see no reason to offer any less than our total support for Mrs. Carter. So the Charleston Herald stands behind Quinn Carter, and I stand behind the Charleston Herald. I don't think anyone should be forced to resign merely for interviewing a controversial subject. On a desk next to the note, we find the Charleston Herald editor's terminal that further expands on the backlash of this interview. Quinn, you know I stand by you, but the heat we're getting from this Sam Blackwell interview is getting turned up to fry our hides off levels. Few angry locals and politicians we can tangle, but I'm getting federal calls, Quinn, and they're not subtle. They aren't just threatening to arrest us, you follow? The Herald's never betrayed a source, and we're not starting now, but you got a target on your back the size of the Purple Mountains. I want you to buy a gun. I'm serious, and I'm getting you a couple hotel rooms. Don't sleep in the same one twice. Lock the doors at night and don't open them for anyone. This note and terminal suggests that Quinn met Sam covertly to do the interview. Now that Quinn knows where Sam is located, the person or people who want Sam want to use Quinn to find him. But this doesn't answer why the interview was so controversial or who was after him. Well, luckily for us, we can find the whole interview in 2 parts just downstairs behind a locked door.
All right, it's recording. Thank you again for reaching out to me. I can't tell you how shocked I was to find out your letter was the real deal.
Of course, Miss Carter. Hope the trek wasn't too arduous.
It was an experience. Not a lot of my interviews start with a bag over my head. Just glad it didn't end up being a prank, I suppose.
I apologize for that. Maintaining a low profile is a requirement for us now.
And why is that, Senator? Why did you leave your position so suddenly?
Leaving was the only way I thought I'd be able to protect my family, Miss Carter. But I've since realized that I've left a lot of other people I care about in grave danger. I was hoping you could help me correct that.
What are you talking about, Senator?
There are sinister forces at work in the halls of government. I and my fellow members of the Free States will no longer be shackled to the putrefying corpse of this nation. No, nor should anyone who values their lives. There is only one recourse left for the people of the United States. Strike out on your own. Take whatever you can carry, get off the grid, and get there fast. The end is coming, Miss Carter. And when it does, your government has no interest in keeping you safe.
So that sounds like some pretty normal nutjob conspiracy talk. There are sinister forces at work in the halls of the government, and the government won't protect you. I feel like this talk normally gets ignored, but I think Sam is using his prestige as a well-respected former member of that government to try to make people listen. Here is the second half of the interview.
Sinister forces? The end is coming? Senator, you're making some big claims here. Do you have evidence to back it up?
This is not some doomsday fever dream, if that's what you're asking, Miss Carter. I received my information from reliable sources. Yes.
And I'm supposed to take your word for it?
You're going to have to, Miss Carter. I'm trying to save lives, not put more at risk by exposing my sources.
Senator, I'm not trying to be rude here, but it sounds like you're trying to start a panic, and without evidence, I'm not willing to be a part of that. I also have it under the strictest confidence that you've been seen making multiple visits to a certain Charleston neurologist as of...
My health is not the issue here, Miss Carter. These are people's lives. The executive branch, captains of industry, the Department of Agriculture. I peeked into their world and they threatened my life, my daughter's life. We're just pawns to them. And the only way we survive is to step off the board. All I'm asking is that you share that message.
I meant no offense. You just have to know how this looks from my end.
I understand. It's just a sensitive topic.
Would you mind if I asked you one last question?
If it means you'll get the word out, go ahead.
You never resigned as senator. Is that something you're planning to do?
I am. Consider this interview my formal resignation. Spread the word, Miss Carter. All I ask is that my warning goes with it, and nothing else. Now, if you wouldn't mind, my daughter and I have a lot to do. We're on our own out here, after all.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Understandably, Quinn is skeptical of all the doomsday talk. Sam talks about a grand conspiracy including the executive branch, captains of industry, whatever that means, and the Department of Agriculture. The only way we're going to find out more is to go find Sam's bunker. But finding Sam's bunker is no easy task. You first have to head just north of the Cranberry Bog to an abandoned waste dump. On the outside, this looks like an illegal nuclear waste dump, but there is a small cavern nestled away in the corner. While approaching the opening, we can find a deathclaw nest, a hint to what we're going to find inside. When entering, we can find a ton of nuclear waste barrels. This prompted me to put on my hazmat suit, but surprisingly, they weren't radioactive. Could this be because they were emptied in order to use them as props to discourage people from entering? Or maybe this is just another Fallout 76 bug. Moving further, we find our first deathclaw. I found 2 deathclaws in the cave that were fairly low level for deathclaws. So even low level people shouldn't have much trouble getting through here, especially because you can just run back towards the entrance to where they can't hit you. Exploring the cave further after dispatching the deathclaws, we can find a blood trail that leads to a decapitated body labeled Agent. The agent has a holotape on him labeled Operational Summary Blackwell.
Commencing op summary, Agent Gray reporting. Blackwell won't be causing any more problems. The bypass holotape got me into the bunker as expected, though a longer range is recommended for future models. Essentially had to play the thing standing on top of the access panel to get it to work. Without the lures to distract those freaks, I might be dead instead of the senator. Once inside, I was briefly halted by Blackwell's laser grid, but resetting the power allowed me to grant myself clearance. Recovery of the access card to our facility was less successful. I found a keypad, but was unable to decipher the code. Recommend sending in a specialist to collect it. I'm proceeding to the next target, after which I'll... Wait. What happened to the power? The lures! Oh, God.
So it sounds like this agent assassinated Sam Blackwell by bypassing his security system with a special bypass holotape. He also talks about an access key to our facility that he was sent there to collect. And according to this holotape, it's still there. So hopefully we get a shot at acquiring this access card. And furthermore, whoever this access card belongs to is Sam Blackwell's killer. Moving up the elevated platform, we can find an elevator, but when attempting to activate it,
invalid credentials. Access denied.
From the holotape on the agent, we know to play the bypass holotape.
User access updated. Welcome.
And we're in. Walking down the stairs, we find the familiar Free States logo. Further down the steps, we find 2 doors. The first leads into the main living area. Once again, in all of these bunkers, you can find some pretty good loot. There's large amounts of food and crafting supplies here. Moving into the bedroom, we can find a pistol under the bed and a note on the nightstand, labeled Judy. My little girl's dead because of my choices. Don't let Judy's death be in vain. We can find some more notes posted on the wall. Locked out again? Power probably reset overnight. Not your fault, old man. 1. Head upstairs to the security room. 2. Log into the security system terminal. 3. Select Reset Laser Grid Credentials. Password slipping your mind? Take some mentats and grab the manual. Reset steps? Desk upstairs. So here it looks like Sam is writing notes to himself, probably due to the neurological disorder we heard about in the second half of Quinn Carter's interview. Head getting fuzzy? Mentats. No mentats left? 1 carrot flour. If the pantry's empty, plenty in the mountains to the west. 2 chunks of brain fungus. Grows in cave upstairs. Firecap mushrooms. Check the pantry if you're out. Well, you've got a long walk back to the forest ahead of you. Distill using Judy's chemistry equipment. Take as soon as it's cooled. So it sounds like Sam has been finding relief with mentats for whatever disorder he has. Good to hear that he found some help. Another door on the lower level leads to this laser grid. Trying the hand scanner.
Incorrect credentials.
I immediately thought to pop the bypass holotape, but it didn't work, so we're gonna have to find a different way in. Leaving the living area, we can head through the second door, which leads upstairs. Here, we can find Judy's room, Sam Blackwell's daughter. In her room, we can find Judy's terminal. What am I doing? So here I am, stuck underground with my father. Not the final year of med school plan I had in mind, but he came to me. He was so adamant that we had to run, that someone was coming for us. Not adamant to show me any concrete proof, just that I had to trust him this time, which has been getting harder as he gets worse. But I could tell in his eyes that he made his decision, and he's not in any state to be out here on his own. So here I am, me, my father, Senator on the lam, and a pile of books to last us through Judgment Day. Maybe I'll get lucky and he'll come around to us heading back outside in a couple of days. Judgment Day. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of people's reactions to the end of the world. Life changes. The plant growth outside has been getting out of control since... I can't do this now. Life changes, second try. Okay, again from the top. The plant growth outside has been getting out of control. The main entrance is almost overrun. At this rate, we're going to have to start burning the roots in order to get out of the elevator. And the animals aren't faring any better. I saw a mosquito the other day that was the size of a dog. I don't think I've screamed like that since high school, but at least it's given me a new goal in life. I want to never, ever, ever see one of those things feed. Ever. Mentats are key. I've been trying a couple different meds for Dad to see what helps keep him lucid. Most effective things so far, believe it or not, mentats. I always thought they were a party drug for beatniks and armchair philosophers, but they sharpen him right up, which we've been needing as of late. He came back the other day covered in mud, claiming he saw a giant bat. That's a new one. I worked out a recipe that seems to get pretty close to the store-bought ones. More scary looking fungi in there than I like, but at this point, it's better than the alternative. I saw a giant bat today. Holy Mother of God, I saw a giant bat. And it saw me, and followed me back here. Dad was right. We're going to need to be a lot more careful out there from now on. So it sounds like Judy is having a hard time believing her dad because of his disease, but he continues to be right over and over. Judgment Day, the giant bats, it all seems to be correct. Alright, now we're going to have to get through that laser grid. In the security room next to Judy's room, we can find a note telling us just what to do. It says to throw the circuit breaker in the laundry room, open the air flue above the generator, and activate the circuit conduit upstairs in the vents. After doing all of these, we try the hand scanner again.
Credentials recorded. Access granted.
And we're in. This is Sam Blackwell's personal study. We can find a holotape on his desk.
9 a.m. Degenerative neurological conditions. Room 121. 10:30 radiation therapy training. Lab 206. Noon. Family medicine rotation. All Tech U Free Clinic. P.M. keeps going like that. Your daughter Judy's a busy woman, Senator, but not hard to find. You've been sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, Samuel. And now you've gone too far. We're coming for you. And your family. This was your warning.
So it sounds like someone has been tracking Sam Blackwell and his daughter, saying that both of them are in danger. Pretty scary stuff. On a downed shelf behind the desk, we can find another note. Back off, Sam. The decision's made. The automated silos are being built in Appalachia. We're going to get the same early warning system as everyone else. But if you breathe a word about these timing discrepancies you keep implying between the military and civilian warning systems, I'll make sure you spend the rest of your days in jail. You're going to start a panic, Sam. We're not discussing this again. So it sounds like Blackwell is a pretty reasonable, not corrupt politician, but unfortunately he has to exist in an incredibly corrupt government. We can find 3 more notes in 3 different filing cabinets. One is about Sam Blackwell's divorce, one is about his election to the Senate, and the other is labeled Top Secret. Intel Committee only. Senator, you're pulling the purse strings of this congressional bunker project was exactly the break we needed. The Modus machine, Vault-Tec members, or our own government, they're all part of it. I've gotten a lot of chatter about the Department of Agriculture having an outsized role in what's going on. Secretary Earhart is at the heart of this, I guarantee it, but I wouldn't be shocked for a moment if this went all the way to the top. Remember this number, 417604. It's an invoice number for the order placed by the Department of Agriculture at Earhart's request. Bound for the bunker, they claim it's part of the facility's automation effort. That's a lie. Invoice 417604 is experimental equipment, high tech, lots of it. The automation thing's just a cover-up. Some of this stuff is military-grade equipment, Sam. Biological warfare, human experimentation, they're gearing up to go to war, or more likely, end one. I'm going to keep digging on my end, see where the thread goes, but you might want to make yourself scarce, Sam. No telling how these people will react if they find out we know what they're up to. T. So this must have been what prompted Sam to run, learning from a trusted source, T, that there is a conspiracy possibly between Vault-Tec and the government building a top-secret congressional bunker with high-tech military equipment, which is presumably beneath the White Springs Hotel. So Sam helped uncover the Enclave, and the Enclave are the people who are after him. The agent that we found dead outside, who also took Sam's life, was also probably part of the Enclave, or at least contracted by them. That only leaves one question. Where is the key card? On each note we picked up, we can find a 7-digit number, and on a wall behind Sam's desk, we can find a 7-digit keypad. We can try each number, but none of them work.
Error.
The last place we can look is in Sam's terminal. Judy says I should write, that recalling things and writing them down will help my memory until she can find out what she needs to brew up some more meds. So I'm writing. When she's not taking care of her dad, she's been glued to the radio upstairs, listening to folks crying for someone to save them, wondering why no one's coming. It's almost like no one listened to the interview at all, like I told her they wouldn't. She's a good soul, which is why I imagine this has been hard for her, because there's no place for people like that in this world anymore. I'm sorry, Judy. Judy went out to collect mushrooms, part of a grand plan for a mushroom and daddy apple casserole, which my stomach has been quietly fearing the whole day, but she didn't come back. I cycled through our best foraging spots, only to find her deep in conversation with 2 men. 2 men we didn't know. 2 men who could have recognized her. I waited for them to part ways. If they were agents to find us, they clearly weren't good ones. When I got back, I tried to keep calm, to remind her why we have to stay hidden. Remind her what telling the truth cost us. That made her mad. Now she's upstairs and I need to get the courage to say what's so damn easy to write. I'm sorry, Judy, but with everything that's been taken from us, I'm not about to lose you too. I was out hunting today, and I swear some kind of bat the size of a corvega came flying over the ridge. It perched and looked right at me, through brush, trees, and 500 yards. It spun right towards me like I had whipped a stone into its head. Then it howled like a banshee. It started flying right at me. I haven't run so fast since high school. Dodging tree branches and brush, could hear wings flapping just behind my head, and then darkness. It took me a good 15 seconds before I realized I had fallen into a ditch. The bat screeched, and I could hear it clawing at the ground above me for what sounded like an eternity, before finally giving up and flying off. When I finally got back, I told Judy. She looked at me up and down, covered in sweat, dirt, and bruises, and told me in that perfect doctor calm that there's a chance that what I saw, it might have been a side effect of being off my meds. She then turned, walked into the storeroom, and handed me the biggest gun we had. Just take this too. Buried her up on the crest. The disease, it moved too fast. 1 minute she was fine, and then the next, gone. I recognized it. This disease. At least I think I did. An old memo, maybe? Was this what we were chasing? Had T warned me about this? I wanted to take her to the congressional bunker. They could have fixed her. I know it. They would have executed me for treason. But maybe they'd let her live. The maps weren't in the spots I thought they were, and by the time I had found them and built the stretcher, I just watched her die. Chatter on the radio coming from Harper's Ferry gets grimmer every day. Others out there are dying of the same thing. And I can't do this on my own. About time I went for a walk. Judy loved going for walks. Don't forget this one, Sam. So Sam's daughter fell ill of the same illness that killed most of the other people of Appalachia. But I can't imagine being Sam in this position. Losing your caretaker when your memory is starting to go, it must be horrible. Next to the terminal, we can find a skeleton clutching a 10mm pistol. We can assume that this is Sam Blackwell's skeleton, showing him trying to defend himself from the Enclave agent. It kind of sucks to say, but Sam Blackwell probably didn't have very long for that world anyway. His memory was going, he was either going to run out of supplies, or just wander off in Appalachia somewhere and never come back. Finally, we can try the keypad one last time. We enter Judy's death date, and it finally accepts it.
Code accepted.
It opens up a secret chamber behind this painting, where we can find the congressional access keycard, and welcome to the White Springs holotape.
Greetings, esteemed Congressman or Senator. Welcome to the future of the United States government. Welcome to the White Spring. Designed with comfort and safety in mind, the White Spring bunker, located directly below the lavish resort of the same name, will act as your very own oasis in the event of a hostile nuclear strike. All you need to do is present the enclosed access card upon your arrival, and our automated bunker management mainframe will do the rest, guiding you through the process of getting to know your new home, all while supporting the continuation of the necessary functions of government. So when the inevitable comes, won't you join us at the White Spring?
Alright, so that's it. We finished the quest. A few little more tidbits. If you go outside, right above the entrance to the cave where the bunker is located, we can find Judy's grave. It's marked by a sign showing the date of death. But yeah, that's the story of Sam Blackwell. There are still more questions to answer though, like what lies beneath the White Springs, and who is in control of the Enclave. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to answer these questions in a different video. Alright, that's all I have on Sam Blackwell. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out my small channel. Also, if you've made it this far, consider joining my channel's membership. You get a cool little Mothman symbol next to your name when you comment. Also consider following me on Twitter. It's the best place for me to keep in contact with you guys. But anyway, this has been Widgeon TV. Thanks for watching, guys.